about what will happen if Chris meets a white family. This is shown by the increasingly eccentric, unrealistic. I always had this idea that Grandpa, who's in Walter's body, is running conspiracy ideas floating around the internet about Get Out. So, she's a genius.
You know I can't give you the keys, right, babe?
Rose, no! No, the keys!
Oh, be careful, bro.
I told you not to go in that house.
With a gripping storyline, masterful cinematography, and thought-provoking commentary on race relations, Get Out is more than just a horror movie. It's a social commentary that tries to warn you about the dangerous undercurrents of society. Today, we explore The Same. The plot. Get Out is a horror thriller movie directed by Jordan Peele and released in 2017. The movie follows the story of Chris Washington, a young African-American photographer who is dating a white woman named Rose Armitage. Rose invites Chris to visit her family's estate for a weekend, and while initially hesitant, he agrees to go with her. Upon arriving at the Armitage estate, Chris becomes increasingly uneasy as he notices strange behavior from the family's black servants and the odd mannerisms of the family's white guests. Things take a terrifying turn when Chris discovers the true intentions of the Armitage family, who have sinister plans for him and other black people who have come to the estate. The movie's plot explores themes of race, identity, and social commentary through its thrilling storyline, culminating in a shocking twist ending. Overall, Get Out offers a unique and captivating take on the horror genre, using suspense and horror to comment on the very real issues of racism and oppression in modern society.
Conspiracy ideas floating around the internet about Get Out. So,
let's unpack. Jordan Peele is a household name when it comes to comedy and discussions about race. With his horror thriller Get Out, he proves that he's not just a one-trick pony. This film delves into the anxieties of modern interracial relationships, but with a twist. What starts as an awkward weekend getaway quickly turns into a nightmare for Chris Washington, the film's protagonist. What makes Get Out so gripping is that it's not just a horror movie, but a commentary on social issues. Peele masterfully uses suspense and horror to explore the real-life issues of racism and oppression in modern society. The film's success lies in its ability to be both scary and thought-provoking, making it a must-watch for everyone. But don't be fooled by the film's unexpected twist. All the clues and misdirections fit together seamlessly, leaving the audience satisfied with the answers to the mystery. However, if you're still left with questions, fear not. We're here to break down everything that Get Out tried to warn us about, from the use of symbolism and metaphors to the film's legacy and influence on the horror genre and beyond. Get Out is a film that subverts traditional horror tropes and offers a unique perspective on race relations in America. The film's villain is a wealthy white man who remains shrouded in mystery throughout the movie, allowing the viewer to interact with him solely on the terms of the horror genre. As the film progresses, the audience is forced to see white society through the eyes of Chris, the black protagonist, who becomes our avatar in this terrifying world. By framing the story within the horror genre, Get Out creates an unprecedented level of empathy with black characters, inviting the audience to experience the terror of racial oppression firsthand. Interestingly, even white audience members have responded positively to Chris as the film's protagonist. By accepting his narrative as part of the horror genre they already enjoy, Get Out has provided a gateway for white audiences to empathize with black characters and confront the very real issue of racism in society.
There you are. Do something with this.
I love you.
Violence and black resistance. Get Out uses horror tropes to subvert mainstream American culture's views on violence and heroism. The basic plot follows Chris, a black man who visits his white girlfriend's family in suburbia and uncovers a horrific eugenics experiment that involves abducting black people and fusing their brains with older white people. His only option becomes escape by any means necessary, which in Get Out's case means open violence. Throughout the film, Get Out uses horror tropes to create a sense of suspense and terror. As Chris fights for his survival and escape, he must resort to open violence, a means of resistance that is often demonized in black resistance movements in the U.S. The film challenges the idea that violence is bad, and minorities should only use it as a means of attaining harmony and unity, which is often reinforced by Hollywood. Even in horror, a genre that is teeming with sanctioned violence, black characters are typically only allowed to use violence when they're working alongside white characters. This reinforces the idea that white society is still the hero and that minorities are powerless without their help. Get Out challenges this narrative by allowing black characters to use violence independently, without the help of white characters. By doing so, the film presents a new perspective on heroism and defiance in the face of oppression. Through its use of horror tropes and social commentary, Get Out has become a powerful commentary on race relations in America and a groundbreaking addition to the horror genre. It's a powerful commentary on the insidious ways in which racism manifests in modern society. The protagonist, Chris, is forced to navigate a minefield of microaggressions and casual racism, all while maintaining a veneer of polite compliance. It's a tactic many people of color are all too familiar with, the need to keep quiet in the face of hostility for fear of being perceived as a troublemaker. But as the tension ratchets up and the danger becomes increasingly clear, Chris is forced to confront the reality of his situation. Get Out is a searing indictment of the way black individuals are often blamed for their own mistreatment, and a chilling reminder of the fatal consequences of staying silent in the face of oppression.
Yeah, I always had this idea that Grandpa, who's in Walter's body, is running. And if Chris meets a white family, this is shown by the increasingly eccentric, unrealistic plot.
White feminism unmasked. The femme fatale archetype has a long history in cinema and real life, with women using their charm and perceived innocence to manipulate those around them. In horror, this archetype takes on a new form, a seemingly naive young woman who uses her wiles to control and deceive her lovers, often with deadly consequences. In Get Out, Rose appears to be the perfect ally for Chris, a progressive and aware young woman who is quick to denounce racism and support his fight against the white community he encounters at her family's home. But as the film progresses, it becomes clear that Rose is not the ally she appears to be. Instead, she embodies the pitfalls of white feminism, a form of feminism that prioritizes the needs and wants of white women over the social issues faced by minority groups. Rose consistently dismisses Chris's concerns about her family's racism, insisting that they are not racist despite all evidence to the contrary. She speaks for him and over his objections, and professes to be baffled by her family's aggressive behavior towards him, all while secretly using her knowledge to further their racist agenda. When the crisis moment arrives, it becomes clear that Rose's support for Chris was nothing more than a manipulation to align his interests with hers. This critique of white feminism, that white women only support minority groups as long as their interests align, is a common one, and Get Out makes it crystal clear through Rose's behavior. The film is a powerful commentary on the dangers of false allyship and a reminder of the deadly consequences of not recognizing and confronting racism in all its forms.
He left 2 days ago.
He left. Look, man, I've been calling his phone a bunch of times.
A local one, or I guess he could have called an Uber?
Look, I got you. I'm gonna record your ass.
Gaslighting and microaggressions. Gaslighting is a powerful tool used by people to control others by making them doubt their own perception of reality. Although the term gaslighting has only recently entered the cultural consciousness from modern psychology, the practice has been around for a long time. It was even the inspiration for the title of the 1944 horror film Gaslight, which explores the theme of manipulating someone's perception of reality. One of the most insidious ways that gaslighting is practiced is through microaggressions. These seemingly harmless comments or gestures are often used to dismiss and degrade the experiences and identities of women, minorities, and other marginalized groups. The effect of microaggressions is to gradually wear down and dehumanize individuals while creating plausible deniability for the gaslighter. In Get Out, the seemingly innocent comments made by white people about Chris's race are far from harmless. At the garden party, the white guests relentlessly scrutinize Chris, evaluating him as a physical specimen with the intention of auctioning off his body parts to the highest bidder. However, it's not just his physical attributes that are objectified. Even his spiritual and creative abilities are dissected and turned into commodities. Chris's artistic talent is reduced to his eyes, which are viewed as a valuable asset to be exploited, further dehumanizing him. The comments made by the guests are not an attempt to connect with Chris as a human being, but rather a way to assess his worth and reduce him to nothing more than a marketable product. Get Out masterfully illustrates how racism can take on a subtle, insidious form that dehumanizes and commodifies individuals, reducing them to mere objects to be bought and sold. The horror of Get Out lies not only in the physical danger Chris faces, but also in the psychological manipulation he endures. The film is a powerful reminder of the insidious nature of gaslighting and microaggressions, and how they can be used to control and dehumanize individuals.
So last time I talked to Chris, he told me your mama hypnotized him.
Rod, just stop. That there's something between us.
No, Chris is my best friend. Hey, look, if you did something... she's a genius.
Literal horrors of racism. The strength of Get Out lies in its literalism. Unlike many horror films that rely on fantasy metaphors, the film exposes the real-life horrors of casual racism and how they are used to conceal the most insidious form of racism, slavery. Through its depiction of small social slights and injustices, the film highlights how seemingly innocent comments and actions are actually part of a larger system that perpetuates prejudice and devalues human lives. By portraying these everyday occurrences as a horror, Peele allows audiences of all races to experience in a visceral way the demoralizing effects of racism on its targets. But the film doesn't stop at simply exposing the problem. It also offers a solution by providing insight into the tools with which racism perpetuates itself. By raising awareness and understanding of these mechanisms, Get Out inspires viewers to work towards dismantling the system and building a better future.
Chris was just telling me how he felt much more comfortable with my being here. Well, it was nice to meet you, Chris.
I mean, I told you not to go in that house.
How'll you find me?
Right now, he's finding those keys. Huh?
Rose, now! Now, the keys!
Consider this situation.
Oh, be careful, bro.
You know I can't give you the keys, right, babe?
Yes, I did. Jeremy, grab his legs, please. Take him downstairs. Dean, help him.
Give me a look. Oh, okay, that was my fault.
That's all for this video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.